You're looking at live pictures in Eagle Pass, Texas. That is the border area much under dispute right now. Tensions ramping up this week between Texas Governor Greg Abbott and the White House over the administration's response there at the southern border. And now, after multiple hearings over dereliction of duties, House Republicans are set to move forward with articles of impeachment, even a House-wide vote to actually impeach DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. Joining me now to discuss, Texas Republican Congressman Michael McCaul. Welcome back to Fox News Sunday.
Thanks for having me, Shannon.
All right, so we have brand new here, the two articles of impeachment: willful and systemic refusal to comply with the law and breach of the public trust. Now, is he just the messenger carrying out the policies for the administration? Why go after him when this may go nowhere in the Senate?
He knows better. And I served Chairman of Homeland Security when Jay Johnson, he was the deputy. He was a U.S. attorney in Los Angeles. He knows better. This is not by accident, it's by design. And I call him the architect of destruction. 8 million encounters, 300 on the terror watch list, 200 million people dead now thanks to fentanyl poisoning that this one man is responsible for. I think that is a dereliction of duty. And, we looked at the founding fathers here. They didn't have a lot of federal criminal statutes. Breach of the public trust is sufficient to impeach. And, I think it's important that we respond to the American people.
All right, here's a response from a Democratic congressman, colleague of yours. Jake Auchincloss was on Fox yesterday. Here's what he said.
Impeachment is grossly inappropriate for policy differences. If Republicans are serious about border policy, then let's engage on this bipartisan border policy bill. Impeaching Secretary Mayorkas is an admission by the GOP in the House that they don't actually have plans, they just have anger.
You're angry.
Yeah, my constituents are angry. I just got back from Texas. I was down at the border. I saw it's worse than it's ever been, Shannon. The detention spaces are overflowing again, and all the notice to appear, and they're let into our society. It's unsustainable, and it's causing injuries to the state, is what the founding fathers said. This is the greatest injury I think I've seen. And it was really because of the change in policy by executive fiat and changing executive orders from the previous administration. I love the fact we're going to try to do legislation up here, but the fact is President Biden could change this tomorrow if he just changed the executive orders they did on day one. Remain in Mexico came out of my committee, and it simply says you're detained, but you remain in Mexico pending the adjudication of political asylum. Therefore, catch and release is over, and it stopped, and it secured the border. This president could do the same thing, but he chooses not to.
Okay, quickly, if the Senate deal comes together, but it's DOA in the House, as we keep hearing, will the House vote on some measure for Ukrainian aid that's not attached to the border, or does it have to be a deal, package deal for you?
I mean, that's gone back and forth, and that's kind of a leadership question. I could see it tied to maybe Israel and Indo-Pacific. My thoughts, in Ukraine, we can't abandon our allies and surrender to Putin in Ukraine like we did in Afghanistan.
But maybe border splits apart from those.
Well, it seems to me that's of course things are currently. I don't know if the Senate version is going to be sufficient in the House. I don't know if Speaker Johnson will put it on the floor unless it has significant policy changes like the ones I'm talking about.
And we don't have the text yet, so we'll see. There's a lot of pressure as
and we don't.
Wins. Okay, so let's talk about this, given your foreign policy connection as well. This UN agency that we fund to the tune of billions of dollars with U.S. funds, it's supposed to help people within the Gaza Strip and beyond. There are accusations that several of the employees were somehow directly involved in the massacres, the terror attacks on October 7th. We're among the countries that have suspended funding to them. But there has long been a history of questions and problems about their activity. How do we get aid to people in the region who desperately need it, civilians, and also decide how we're going to hold this agency accountable?
Well, you do it through other NGOs like the World Food Program and others. I mean, the United Nations Relief Agency, the previous Trump administration cut all funding for a reason, just for this reason. The idea that UNRWA was actually supplying, harboring weapons to assist with Hamas's invasion of Israel. Now, those are the allegations that have come out of Israel. We're investigating. But if true, think how outrageous that is. And we do have reporting that UNRWA is using money to give aid to Hamas. And that's why I've advocated to cut that funding. The administration finally, after they allowed it, put a pause on it just a couple of days ago. And they're going to testify before my committee, and we're going to get some answers.
Okay, another foreign policy issue. Bipartisan group of House members wrote a letter to the president on Friday about the strikes on the Houthi targets, all that's going on in the Red Sea. They say this: we believe the U.S. unauthorized strikes in Yemen violate the Constitution. We urge your administration to seek authorization from Congress. They say it's up to Congress debating putting U.S. troops, U.S. dollars in line with attacks like these. Where are you on this?
Well, this goes back to the authorization of use of military force. My committee would pass this. Right now, they're using Article 2 self-defense, right? Houthi rebels, they've shut down the Red Sea, by the way. 450% increase in shipping going through there, so inflation, energy. But the bottom line is, to some extent, I agree that Congress should authorize, but I would authorize. In fact, in my AUMF proposal, we authorized use of force against not these Iranian proxies, not Iran itself, but the proxies of Iran. That's what's changed since 9/11. Houthi rebels are causing so much destruction, and this projection of weakness that this administration has, whether it be with Russia, China, and the Ayatollah, has brought this on.
All right, we'll see if the White House does come to you on this. Mr. Chairman, always good to see you.
Thanks, Shannon.
Thanks for coming in.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.